One. Welcome to the NAO show. We are back. It is the off season, so we have lives to live. We got dogs to pet, and we have children. None of that pertains to me because I have no life, no dogs, no children. Well, enough about me. What about you, Marky Mark? How are you doing today?
It sounds like a bad country song.
Or good country song.
Yeah, right. It'd be a hit, wouldn't it? Doing well, man. We're gonna have some fun today. Last week I forgot, man. I wanted to highlight the fact that we got a new member in the NAO league. His last name is Bag. His first name is Dick. Just wanted to welcome Mr. Bag to the league. Man, I meant to do that last week and I forgot. Sorry, Mr. Bag. It's great to have you in the league. Really great to have you.
Yeah, you're a real dick.
May you make many good trades.
I think everyone needs to go look up the Louis C.K. skit about a bag of dicks.
Bag of dicks. I will. That sounds fun. This is gonna be a trade show. We got the trade show going on.
I promise we will not talk about calculators for 35 minutes. I promise.
We won't. We're over that.
Are we going to make it through without mentioning Aaron Rodgers?
We might, maybe.
I don't know. I'd take the under on that one. But yeah, we are going to talk about a trade in the league and then some trades in the NFL and even hypothetical maybe trades in the NFL. So it's going to be a fun show. So let's get right to it, guys. We got one trade in our league to talk about. That was between defenses wins championships and the underdogs. Defenses got a little offensive, decided to go a little offensive here. He traded for Davante Adams. Got a tier one top guy, wide receiver one, Davante Adams, and Travis Fulgham was the small part of that one. And traded with the underdogs who received Tyler Boyd, Jonnu Smith, pick number 7 in the 2021 draft and pick number 8 in the 2021 draft. Mike, start us off and tell us your observations on this trade, sir.
I think there's kind of a lot to unpack on this one, really. Like we said, we all kind of went over it in chat since we're all very vocal about everybody's trades these days. But no,
I'm sorry.
I like it for both sides. The obvious thing after this is that the underdogs have the first or half of the entire first round.
Is that a joke? No, that isn't a joke. I'm sorry.
That's a haul, yeah.
It's literally the truth.
Yeah, that's incredible. I mean, I think we all expect them to move some of those eventually, but yeah, for the time being, half the entire first round. But going into next year, I think A-Bomb's team, he's starting Tyreek Hill and Davante Adams. Is there another team in the league that has two high hitting wide receivers like that they're starting? I mean, that's pretty good. I think it's pretty obvious that Aaron climbed up into the playoffs all season, and now he's in win now mode, and he's here.
I couldn't have said that better myself there, Mike. I love, if I'm A-Bomb, I love seeing Tyreek Hill and Adams in your 1 and 2 slot, and then you just trickle on down into that flex position, and this guy's got Cooks and Ayuk in the flex.
Mm-hmm. And he still has a first round pick, so he sent 2, but he still has one.
If he's down, all he's got to do is pull up his roster on the computer or on the phone, and you'll be smiling. You'll be smiling.
I think.
What else? Go ahead, Sean. Yeah.
I think what's fun about this is that Tyler Boyd's going to be a good little catch for the underdogs. I mean, if Joe Burrow comes out again throwing 40 plus times a game, he was doing well when Joey B was out there slinging that rock around in Cincy. Mm-hmm. But it'll be fun to watch Cincy in general with their if they can get that offensive line locked in, that'll help my Joe Mixon and help everybody else there. So it'll be interesting to watch Cincinnati next year.
Yeah, if I was Cincinnati, I would try to sign a free agent. And there's 4 or 5 real good ones on the offensive line out there. And then I'd still take that number 5 pick and maybe go after Sewell if he's there, Penny Sewell, or somebody. And they got Jonah Williams. I would definitely try to get 2 more pieces to shore up that line. I mean, we saw what happened to Burrow, and he was running for his life all year. So I think that would be smart on their part. But yeah, for the underdogs, getting Tyler Boyd, he's going to be 26 years old in the 2021 season. Still got a lot of good ball ahead of him. He's just that gets a lot of targets. He can do things with the ball after he catches it. He's not the sexy pick, but he's solid. And I've gotten him the last couple of years in redraft because he's always there in a round later than he probably should have been picked, because he's just not a sexy pick. He's not a top guy, but man, he's a great flex guy, or he's a good wide receiver too. I think Jonnu Smith that they got too is going to be, he's a great athlete. Tennessee hasn't really used him to his full potential. I don't think. I'd love to see him this year in his free agent year go to a team that would feature him a little bit more on offense, because he could just be a beast. So he was a good, I think he was a good buy low there. He started off the year great, but then when Taylor Lewan went out with his injury on the line, they were keeping Smith in the block more. He just wasn't running the routes anymore, which was a shame to see, because I've got him in the other dynasty, and I was so happy in the first 4 weeks, and then he just kind of fell off the map after that. Ended up as tight end 15 for the year.
Well, really, in the tight end position, if you don't have the top 4 tight ends in the league, there's a big drop off between 4 and 5, and that's throwing Higbee. The guy from Detroit,
Hawkinson
up into the top 4, which could be argued if that there's only top 3 real good tight ends. So to have a tight end that you might be able to depend on week in, week out, that holds its weight.
Yeah. Well, Smith is a great athlete, and we'll have to see where, something, if he stays and something changes there, or if he leaves and he's on an offense that features him more. He could be a good one. What do you guys think about Adams? He's 28, and every season he's missed a few games. He ends up playing 13 games, 14 games maybe. I'm just wondering if at his age, will those injuries start to catch up with him, or do we think he's played through a lot too? I got to give him credit. He's been dinged up, and he's played through it. At 28 years old, what do we think? I'm thinking maybe he's got probably a couple more solid years in him, but I do worry a little bit about the injuries. What do you guys think about that?
Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, I think, they are kind of starting to pile up. They're starting to be one of those things you do think about, especially at his age. I'm pretty sure he's going into a contract year too, I want to say.
Which is usually a good year for a lot of these guys.
Yeah. So I think it was actually kind of a good time, to sell him, obviously being the number 1 wide receiver. And overall, it's not a bad time to sell him, but I think it was a good time to buy him as well, kind of taking the positional rank out of it. But just age and, what's going on in the team, good time to buy, good time to sell.
Yeah.
Like you said, I think he's got a few good seasons left. Everyone made a big deal about what Aaron Rodgers said, after the season with, Jordan Love back there or whatever, but everyone knows he's coming back. It's not going to be an issue. So I think he's got a few more good years left.
Okay. What do you think, Sean?
I'll tell you right now, A-Bomb knows everybody's contract in excessive detail. So if you are coming at him with a guy that might have a trade contract issue, he already knows. So don't even try to play it. I know he knew that Davante Adams is going to be in a contract year, and that he's probably going to have to go balls to the wall. And
the other thing that's interesting that we know about A-Bomb is his superstition about getting a big extension. And do they extend Davante Adams this year?
Yes.
A big payout before the season starts.
Yes. He does not like to get guys that just got a huge extension because he thinks they turn into lazy slops. But not to put words in his mouth.
Well, the piece we hadn't talked about is Travis Fulgham, and I think
Yeah, he was there too.
Oh yeah, that guy.
he did some really good things with Philly this year, but I wouldn't bet a lot on him repeating that. He's a good contested catch guy, but guys like that need a quarterback that's willing to throw it to him. And he's not the most polished route runner, and he doesn't get a lot of separation. So it's a throw in. He's got a guy that he's taking a flyer on, but I don't know that I'd bet a lot on that. But I think it's a good trade for both sides. Definitely Aaron being already a playoff team and bringing back that same roster, run it back. He's going to run it back with Devontae this year, and then of course you can't. The underdogs getting now having 5 picks in the first round and 2 decent upside guys that are still pretty young at 26 each of them, or both of them are 26. It's a good trade for both sides, I think.
One last thing on that. If you guys are listening to this show or watching this show, go to Run It Back right now and look at how many tight ends this guy has on his roster.
Yeah, I said he's going to change his team name.
His name to what Mike told me earlier, the Run It Back tight ends.
tight ends wins championships. I don't know. That's not a saying, is it? Well, it's that was a fun trade. Glad we had one to talk about this week. You guys got any more comments on that before we move on?
My trade calculator said it was even.
Yeah. Calculator's a bad word. It's a bad word on our chat now, man. Somebody calls it the holy calculator. and I use that term talking about it, and then Josh called it the Jesus calculator. I don't know how we got on that. I don't have the Jesus calculator. I was just saying, what Dylan said about the holy calculator, So that's fun though. Yeah, but my calculator had it even too, which I think maybe Ian even posted the screenshot of it. So you all saw that one, the one that I use. Well, speaking of trades, let's talk about a trade that was made in the NFL. Everybody knows it by now, as we're not breaking any news here, that Matthew Stafford was traded to the LA Rams. And that trade sent Jared Goff to the Detroit Lions.
Wait, what?
Along with some you didn't know? You just hearing this?
That didn't happen.
Come out from under that rock, man. I was hoping Stafford would get moved for his sake. I like Stafford a lot. I was a little bit surprised about the destination. So I thought we'd just talk a little bit about the fantasy implications for both those players switching teams, and then the receivers and running backs on the each team that they went to. So let's just spitball a little bit. Any one of you guys want to start on your thoughts on this?
Yeah, my first and foremost thought when I first saw the trade about 30 seconds ago when you told me, Stafford, I'm really liking the stack for Josh, the Cup and Stafford stack. That might be a pretty darn good stack. I'm not saying it's going to be the Murray and D-Hop stack that won so many people, so many leagues last year, but I think that's going to be a solid stack because everyone knows the Raiders are in win it now mode, and they could start just heaving the ball to Cup. He's got great hands. He does really good route tree. I think Cup's stock went up, and I think Stafford's went up too. And Hill has both of them, so his stock is going up too.
What about you, Mike?
Yeah, I agree. My first thought was kind of the same kind of thing. Like my first thought really was that it benefited the Rams and Stafford a little bit more than Detroit. And then you kind of started hearing a little bit about some of these rumors coming out of, the Rams and stuff. And just kind of, it seemed like Goff gave up. Not, probably after the Super Bowl loss, it seemed like, I don't know, but it seemed like they just weren't clicking. There wasn't on the same page. There was something going on there. But so, I mean, thinking about all of it, Goff was no slouch. Obviously, he made it to the Super Bowl. And I think going into Detroit, I think he's, a fresh start will be good for him.
I love that take. But did you guys hear the rumor that Goff went after, made comments about Sean McVay's girlfriend? And then that's why Sean wanted to trade his ass?
I didn't heard that one.
I did hear that McVay and Matthew Stafford just happened to be at the same resort in Cabo or something like that.
Oh,
so they got to have dinner right after the trade was announced. Yeah.
I like to take their Sean on the stack with Cup. I don't know, Stafford. He's one of these. Does he use the slot as much? I know he's had more. He had Calvin Johnson there. He takes shots to him. He likes the contested catch kind of guy, and Galladay's been good with him, throwing that 50-50 ball up to him. Yeah, he dumped off a lot to what was the one? Gosh, I'm blanking now. The running back they had for so many years that was so good as a pass catcher, but not really much of a running back. If you think
all of the Detroit running backs,
since
Barry Sanders.
But he was a check down guy. He was either taking the long ball or the check down. I'd like to see him get a rapport going with Cup because I think Cup is a little bit, he's above average slot receiver that can really do some things when he gets the ball in his hands. So I think that's a good take there. I think he'll take shots to Robert Woods downfield. I think Cam Akers is going to benefit with the dump offs. So and maybe even Tyler Higbee. I think Gerald Everett is probably going to be moving on in free agency, but I think Tyler Higbee could even see a bump there. So I do like it for the Rams a lot. I like seeing Stafford get with a good offensive minded coach and getting a chance to do more with a better team. I'm really happy for Stafford. I'll tell you the truth.
You might have a running back that can run for 100 yards in a game for once.
Speaking of which, I'm on Hill's team today, it seems like, because there's been some running backs that have made some big jumps between year one and year two and being able to catch the ball out of the backfield. And Stafford being able to run at least down the field, unlike Golf would just I got to run. I'm just going to slide right now and just be done with it. That is all going to help them in the play action game, in the short passing game. If Cam Akers makes a big jump in the passing game and does what he was doing late in the season, running the ball, the Rams and friggin' Josh Hill are going to be a crazy combo. I'm just saying. I hope I play him when the Rams are on bye. I'm just saying.
I haven't talked to Josh lately. I'd like to see what he's thinking about all that. That's a good point. I bet he's happy about it because I think his stock took a turn up there with this move. On the Detroit side, me as a Galladay, I got Galladay rostered, and I'm just sweating bullets right now because I'm not a big believer in Goff. I've never been. I feel like McVay has made him better than he really is. And I'm not convinced that him going to another team, I'm not convinced that he'll still be a solid fantasy option. And so I'm really scared that they're going to franchise Galladay and he's going to be stuck there with Goff. I'm just sweating bullets, hoping that Galladay gets to leave in free agency. Otherwise, I feel like my stock is taking a turn down. What do you guys think about that take?
Yeah, I was initially worried about Galladay a little bit. I mean, you kind of think about, it's not like there wasn't any Rams that were viable fantasy wide receivers, but McVay is pretty okay head coach. I mean, he knows what he's doing. But I know I guess I'm not terribly high on Goff by any means, but I think from the sounds of it, he had given up being in LA. He didn't like anything going on there for some reason. Something happened. I don't know if we'll ever know really, but it just everything that he's been saying, it's just he wanted out really bad. So, I mean, the other side of it is he's only 26. He's been to a Super Bowl, didn't go great, but and he's been in some big games. He knows what he's doing. I wouldn't be surprised at a little bit of a bounce back for him. But yeah, my first thought was you and Galladay. Like that's a little bit dicey there.
Yeah. What do you think, Sean?
I think you're definitely right in the fact that they're going to franchise him because their only other options are Danny, I'm too old, Amidala, and Melvin Gordon. So they need somebody to throw a ball to that they just spent.
I think you meant Marvin Jones.
Yeah, Marvin Jones. Sorry.
Yeah, and there's no guarantee he stays. He's up for free agency too.
TJ Hawkinson.
Mohamed Sanu.
I forgot about that.
Who? Oh, okay.
That. Well, the other guy I have on my taxi squad is Quintez Cephas.
Yeah, I was just going to bring him up. Actually, I think that'll be interesting.
Yeah. I mean, he was playing the Galladay role when Galladay was out, so maybe he did enough last season where they'll roll with him and let Galladay go. But yeah, I'm a little nervous about that one. Goff is going to be financially, they pretty much have to start him for a couple of years. They've got to at least have him on the roster for a couple of years. They're going to have to pay 2 years of that before they can really get out of it in a financially sound way. So I think he's going to be there. I think he's going to be their starting quarterback unless, I don't know, Sean, they were talking about trading him. I wouldn't bother me if they did.
That was all rumor, but
yeah, I mean, that sounds kind of weird.
Just move him for more picks.
Yeah,
I doubt it happens.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's going to be too many suitors for Goff. What do we think about DeAndre Swift? What does this do for him?
I think if he's able to make the jump, like I was saying about Cam Akers and being able to pick up his blocking and his catching out of the backfield, it may benefit him. But I think I really think they're going to go – if they franchise Galladay and Cephas is on the other side for some reason, I think it's going to be a Cam Akers 3 downs and then hope to God that they're within fourth down range to just kind of get 1 or 2 yards on the passing game. I think it's going to be a heavy run offense, but it's not going to be a good offense. So,
yeah, Hawkinson could still be viable, I think, in this offense. But I don't know. It's hard to say because the Rams were on and off again with the tight end usage. So we don't really know what Goff's tendencies are because I think it was more game plan when they used the tight end in LA.
I think DeAndre Swift ended the season pretty strong. I think, in the beginning of the season, there was a lot of, back and forth with him and Adrian Peterson for some reason getting a lot of carries. I wouldn't be surprised if, Peterson I don't think he's under contract with them anymore. So it sounds like he'll probably be out of the way a little bit more. I think it's probably going to be a DeAndre Swift's backfield, with or without Goff. I think that was the plan anyway. It felt like it near the end of the season.
Yeah, there was a time when Goff was throwing to Gurley a lot, so maybe they do some of that with Swift this season coming up. So Detroit's picking 7. I just feel like they may keep Goff for a couple of years and pick a quarterback there at number 7. Goff may just be their 2-year stopgap guy. So it'd be interesting to see how it all shakes out with him. Well, we have a little bit of time left. We were going to talk a little bit about Deshaun Watson and some of the possibilities about him being traded. So let's just do a quick round table about that. They're talking about the number 1 suitor for him being the Jets. They say that he wants to play with Saleh. I think I'm pronouncing that right. And the Jets have pick number 2 and pick number 23 that they could give to him. I don't know. Maybe they throw in somebody like Quinnen Williams because the Houston needs a lot of help on the defensive side of the ball too. Quinnen Williams from Alabama going into his 3rd year, had 8 sacks last year. Might be a guy they could offer up. If they get that pick 2, they could pick themselves a quarterback. And they definitely need draft picks. So the Jets seem like a good suitor. What do you guys think about? Is he going to go? Are the Jets a good fit for him?
Personally, I would almost want him to go to San Francisco, but that's a hope and a dream. But if he has to go to the Dolphins or the Jets, I would really prefer him to go to the Dolphins because Devontae Parker is a solid wideout, and he could get a lot of targets and have a fantastic tight end in Gesicki. So I think that would definitely help him give Deshaun Watson some targets to throw to.
They would be one of the other best trade partners because they have 2 first-round picks this year that they could give up. San Francisco has 1 this year. So a San Francisco trade may look like trading maybe Nick Bosa and a first this year and a first next year. It'd be kind of like the equal value for Deshaun Watson. But
yeah, I've been reading lately that the Texans, like you said, they want defensive players in return, picks and defensive players. So it kind of seemed like the Niners were sort of out of it just with their contract situation. But, the salary cap is an imaginary number that we can all just, manipulate how you need to. So they can get it to work if they really wanted to, I'm sure. But, yeah, it would probably have to include Bosa, I'm sure.
Yeah, if they offered up Bosa and a couple firsts, that might get it done. They should definitely be aggressive. I mean, that if they got Deshaun, just imagine. I mean, oh my God.
Brandon Ayuk, get out of here.
Yeah. I mean, that
Deebo
would be just off the hook. Kittle. Oh my God.
I even forgot about Kittle.
Yeah.
Golly.
I mean, that would be crazy. Another team that's quarterback needy is the Washington football team, and they could kind of do the same thing with Chase Young, offer up Chase Young and a first this year, next year. That would get it done. Maybe. What do you guys think about that scenario?
I would be shocked if they just give up Chase Young after the rookie year he had. He was fire for them. He was the heart and soul of that defense too. I love Deshaun. Obviously, I drafted him, and he's freaking awesome regardless of the situation. But I would be shocked if Washington gave up.
Well, I mean,
that's what it takes, though.
Yeah, and he's a number 5 quarterback 3 years in a row. I mean, you can't get much more consistent than that. Put him with McLaurin and what's their Logan? Is that Logan Thomas, the tight end that they got? And Antonio Gibson. I mean, that'd be a hell of an offensive squad right there.
I think this year could have been Deshaun Watson's most important year because everyone said how bad he's going to be without, DeAndre Hopkins and stuff. Like he can't do that without him. Well, did just the same.
Number 5.
He looked fine.
Yeah. One other scenario that just came up here lately seems crazy, but they're talking about that Derek Carr is a trade target, which doesn't sound right. But if the Raiders wanted to go after him, I saw a scenario that looked pretty interesting, which would be Derek Carr, Darren Waller, 2021 first and a 2022 first. That could get it done. It seems weird to think that Carr is a trade target, but if that's the case, then that might work too. What do you guys think about that one? Kind of crazy.
We are talking about the Houston Texans that trade away DeAndre Hopkins. So it's crazy, but it's not far-fetched to think that Houston wants to go after Derek Carr.
Even though O'Brien's gone, they still got some of the same people there that would
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be a Houston move, wouldn't it?
Well, yeah, they got rid of O'Brien, and then the guys are bringing in are just ignoring Deshaun Watson, and that's why we're here anyway.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Well, then, and look at the coach that they hired. I think they went after a minority candidate. That's fine, but he was an assistant receivers coach for Baltimore. I mean, of all the guys that are out there available, and that's the guy you bring in, I think they kind of just put the last nail in the coffin. They're saying that officially saying they don't want to trade him, but that could be posture. And if they're smart, they use the best asset they have to get some picks and a player or two, and try to reload. And don't hold him hostage there if he doesn't want to play there. I'd love to see him go somewhere else, to tell you the truth.
Well, that's exactly how I feel too. I'd love to see my guy get out into San Fran and start throwing to that tight end Kittle. Oh my God. I can't even explain how crazy that would be. That's the end of our show. Ian, you suck.